Hey you guys, this is Alex 8675309, and sorry if it's kind of hard to understand me. I'm having sort of a sore throat issue. Um, there's something that I've been just wanting to talk about for the longest time now, and it's just really been bugging me lately. It's the whole issue of graphics. Now, don't get me wrong. There's two different things in gaming that I consider. There's graphics, and then there's beauty. Graphics is the actual capabilities of the system. How many polygons can it put out? Does it have anti-aliasing? Can it support this kind of stuff? Can it support, VSync and all that? Then there's beauty, which is the actual what the programmers did to make something work. The art design, everything that kind of goes into it. Now these go hand in hand. I mean, graphics can help improve beauty, but one can exist without the other. You can have high graphics and a butt-ugly game. You can have low graphics, yet a very beautiful game. That's just the way that I look at it. And I mean, I know some people might, disagree with me, but that's just what I think. Right now, I think that the average gamer considers graphics one of the most important things about a game. I mean, if it's 1080p, it's amazing. If it's 480p, well, guess what? It's just a pile of crap, essentially. And I think that's wrong, in my opinion. I'm like, you guys, it's like I've seen people take games like Xenoblade and The Last Story and completely just say, these games look terrible, so I'm not going to play them. Just by the looks. I mean, what was that saying that everybody says? Don't judge a book by its cover? Yeah, you guys just did that, essentially. I mean, I take a bunch of aspects and I put them together.
Who is it?
What I do is first I look at the beauty of the game. I mean, how does it all work together? How much effort did the programmers put into it? And all this kind of stuff. I'm always going to refer to Xenoblade because it's probably one of the most beautiful games I've seen in a while. Just overall, the game is pretty. It really is. It's very colorful, very vivid, and pretty detailed for what before what the Wii can pull out. The next most important thing for me is the story. This is always important for me because I get the game to, play an experience. Not to look at pretty pictures. No, I want to have an experience. I want to grow with the main character, in a way. The third thing for me is gameplay. I mean, I'm not going to play a game if it's boring. I want it to be fun. I want it to be, difficult, but not too difficult, of course. Even if it is a little bit too difficult, I will attempt it. Then, of course, the whole atmosphere, how everything sort of works together. Now, graphics is probably the next. Now realize, I'm not saying that graphics are not important. They are. Because graphics, as I said, can help extend the beauty further by having, instead of blocky edges, you can have nice smooth round edges. And, just have the textures filtered to look really nice. Like for Xenoblade, I play it on the Wii. I'm like, okay, this looks nice. Then I emulate it on my computer at 1366 by 768 with texture filtering and a bunch of extra add-ons to make it look better, and it looks amazing. I mean, it extended what it was able to do on the Wii. But so that's the thing. Graphics are important, but I do not think they should be the main focus of games. One thing that I've seen lately is games like Monster Hunter 4. Now I've watched some of the trailers and I'm like, man, this looks like a fun game. I might get into this. Hopefully it doesn't have as much scavenging missions. Like, oh hey, collect 4 blue mushrooms, 1 red mushroom, and 2 yellow mushrooms in this amount of time. Yeah, I really didn't care for that in Monster Hunter Tri. But I looked at the comments, and no one was actually talking about the game. They were saying, man, this is on the 3DS, it looks so terrible, it would be so much better on the PS Vita. Oh yeah, the 3DS is not graphically compared to the PS Vita. Who cares? I want to play a fun game. You know what? I don't care if it's for the 3DS. I don't care if it's for the PlayStation Vita. I really don't. If it were for the PlayStation Vita, you know what? I'd wait for the price drop on the PlayStation Vita, get a PlayStation Vita, and then play it. I mean, it's just... I don't care. You know, it's not something that we should really argue about. I mean, if you are one of those people that are really, 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 really against Nintendo for graphics-wise, I think you should really try some Nintendo games. Because the beauty is insane compared to most games. Now, and I've played a PS Vita and I've played a 3DS. They practically look the same graphics-wise. I mean, the PS Vita has a little bit more polygons it can work with, yes, but overall, it's on such a small screen, you can't really tell the difference of, you know, what resolution is it in. Now, there's one thing I'm just wondering. Why can't we just play the game for the experience? I mean, it's kind of turning into, we're not buying it for the actual game, we're buying it to look at a pretty picture that we can control. I mean, I understand that graphics are important, but that should not be the main focus of a game. Now, I mean, it's like taking older games, like, let's say, Super Nintendo or Game Boy Advanced, and we're not going to play those games because they're ugly compared to today. You know, because, I mean, they're so low quality, the graphics are so inferior to today. Games like Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, oh my gosh, the graphics were great back then, but they're terrible now, we shouldn't play it at all. I mean, that is what people are kind of saying. I mean, I know people that would never ever touch a game from before the N64 era just because it's sprites, you know, sprites. I think that's wrong, because they're missing out on some of the best games ever made. I mean, look at Super Metroid. The way it did the atmosphere and everything made it overall just a very beautiful game. And you know what? The graphics, really, they aren't too bad. Especially for when you look at the system. But, think about it now. We're going to have games like Skyrim 10 years later. Are people going to be going, oh man, I don't want to play that game, it looks so bad compared to now. I mean, yeah, I don't care if it's a fun game that everybody's played for years and years and years. Or like, even like Morrowind. I've seen people now even turn, you know, I don't want to see people turn down that game because it is a lot of fun. But could you imagine people going and just saying, man, you know, like, it's crap, so I'm not going to play it. I mean, that's what it's turning into, I think. Now, a lot of people have said that this is a Nintendo fanboy response. If it's a Nintendo fanboy response, guess what? The Nintendo fanboys are right. Because why would you turn down a game just for the graphics? For me, I like the Wii. Why? Because it's affordable. I could easily get it compared to the PlayStation 3, which was $600, and you know, I don't care if the graphics aren't that bad. It keeps it cheap. You know, that's why I kind of like how the Wii U's going, because you know what? They bumped it up to 1080p, but they were still able to keep it really cheap, or cheaper than the alternatives. You know, so it's just, it's not that I'm trying to be a fanboy and all that. It's just, I'm looking at this, and I could see some major problems with what's going on. Now, what do I think is going to happen in the future with this happening? More and more games that are probably amazing games are going to get turned down because they're not of the same quality. Even the older games are going to be forgotten just because, you know, the quality isn't great. And I know the prices of development is going to go way up. I mean, it costs a lot of money to develop a game already. Imagine developing a game that has like 3 times 1080p quality with like these gigantic textures that take lots of time. Either you're going to get someone with a camera just taking pictures of things and throwing them in as textures, or it's going to cost a lot of money to have artists make these textures. So what happens when prices of development go up? Well, the prices of the games have to go up, because, well, obviously they're here to make a profit. So the game prices will rise. And then on top of that, you need systems in order to play it. I mean, the PC, I know, is probably just going to come out on top because, hey, you can just upgrade it, you know, for not that much. Get a new video card, add more RAM. You can't do that with a game console. So you're going to have to go and buy this extremely expensive console in order to play it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if our next gen, like looking at what the PS3 was, $600. I wouldn't be surprised if they, if they go and maybe add $100 to $200 on top of that for their next system. And that's if they keep on trying to go and try to make the most powerful system. I mean, I really hope they don't do that, because it'll really hurt the gaming industry. Now, what happens because of this rise of prices? You're going to lose a lot of the core gamer because it's just going to be too expensive. The rich kids are going to be able to buy it, but that's about it. I mean, if I had the choice of going on a 2-week vacation or buying a video game console with a bunch of games, I would go on the 2-week vacation. And I could really see it getting to the point where it could cost $1,000 for a system and a game. Just because, I mean, look at today's games. Before, it used to cost, you know, not that big of an amount just to buy a game. Now it's up to $70 in some games. You know, 60, 70, and I'm like, at this point, you're having multi-million-dollar development costs. $60 and $70 isn't going to cut it. They're going to need to raise the prices again. And once the core gamer really dies out, you're going to have the really hard-to-control casual market. And I think it could just kill the video game market. I really can see that happening. And then I think that one company that is really trying to keep the systems and games cheap, I think they will come out on top. I don't know how or who it's going to be. I mean, it could be Valve, because you know what? They sell games at really low prices for the PC. It could be Nintendo, because they like to keep things cheap. You know, and so that works. But I really do think that Microsoft and Sony, if they continue doing this, they're going to die off. Probably within this or the next generation after that. So as you can see here, it's just, this is my opinion. If you guys have differentiating opinions to mine, please leave a comment. I really would like to hear what you guys have to say. It's just, think about it. Why are you playing games? I'm playing games for the overall experience. If you're one of those people that plays games just to, you know, see a pretty picture, or if you look at a game and it's like, wow, the graphics are great, let's go and buy it. You know, then think about it. I mean, try to look at some older games. Try to look at some of the games on the Wii, like Xenoblade and The Last Story. Take a look at them. You know, even though they're 480p, they were able to do a lot with what they had. And I think it's just beautiful that they can do that. So, just think about it for a little bit. Leave a comment if you want. This has been Celix867539. See you guys later.